Hello and welcome back to Spiritual Soul Centre. It has been a little while since I've tuned in with you guys. I'm really excited just to connect back in for a little short video today, just to reconnect back in with the energies, reconnect back in with you guys and see how you were doing. And also just to kind of connect in and understand that we're all going through different things at the moment. There is a lot of strange energies going on and different upgrades and a lot of different things going on in the cosmos. So I think it's important that we do a little bit of a check-in and connecting to kind of work with what energies we are working with right now and to observe what frequencies are going on and how we can navigate that in the best way possible for us. So in my personal opinion, there's been a lot of different vibrations and frequencies going on over the past couple of months, but specifically there has been a real sense of insecurities surfacing, a real sense of feeling not disconnected but not fully connected and not fully in that divine flow of energy. So this is something that I think is really important to recognize at this. A lot of us are dealing with many different navigations. A lot of us are dealing with many different family things going on, emotional turbulences surfacing, pains in the physical bodies and ailments returning. And I think it's important to reflect on how this is affecting us, because there is this sense within spirituality that everything needs to be love and light and positivity. And obviously that's not always the case. That's not always the case. And it's not always an option to be able to just go through life dealing with it in love and light only. It's not always an option for us to navigate that in the human world. We may have a higher perspective on a 5D sense, but to navigate it in the human sense, it can be very difficult to not experience the ups and downs and the emotions that we do go through whilst living the human experience. So yeah, there has been a lot of insecurities coming up, a lot of fears, a lot of restrictions, limitations, self-limiting beliefs, self-doubting beliefs. A lot of them have surfaced, and it's been really important for me to use the things that I do know and to navigate the things that I do know, the tips and the tricks and the techniques that I do have and that I have gained over the years, to build up a sense of a way to reconnect back in with myself and a way to reconnect back in with that higher self when I'm experiencing them moments of wobbles and throws, you know. And a lot of the people I've been working with have also been experiencing that overwhelm and a sense of overwhelm, clouded, not being able to see a clear picture or a clear path in regards to what to do next and how to move forward, which is just causing them to feel really delayed, really blocked, and really a sense of non-flow and non-connection to higher self and source. But what I think is important to recognize is we are all always connected to source. We are all a vessel of source. We are all a part of source. We are all from source. We are all one with source. So we can't not be connected. I think that's the main thing to reiterate to you guys, is there is no way that we are not connected to source. It's just about amplifying our existing connection to be able to understand, translate and deliver messages and guidance from what we perceive to be a source, God, higher realms, you know, all them different words we use around oneness, which in essence is just a connection to the divine and to the heart space, to the source energy. Yeah, so I think it's really important to remember that you are all connected to source, no matter how disconnected you may feel in this current moment in time, or lost or overwhelmed. We are all still a connection of source living out a human experience. So I do think that's really important to recognize at this current moment in time. And I also wanted to mention the sacral energy, the sacral chakra, this Kundalini activation that is really taking place right now amongst a lot of women and men, but predominantly a lot of the people I work with are women. And what I seem to have experienced is, including myself and people I know directly, is this sense of we have the divine feminine, we have the divine soft mother, the protector, that divine mothering energy, but we also have the divine sacral self, the divine powerful creator life force energy that resides within our sacral chakra, that has been attacked from the societies, from all different industries and media representations of women, really shaming and over sexualizing women in terms of taking away the power of their own body and their own creative divine flow, their own sexuality, their own sensuality, their own desires, needs, wants. A lot of that has been shamed, judged, criticized, labeled, dismissed, and really just shoved and repressed down into the female womb space, which has in return created a lot of blockages with women in terms of their sexual energy, their empowerment, their divine, true, creative energy, and a bit of a disconnect from their true self, their true power, their true confidence, their true inner self strength and power that has been taken away by that shame, guilt and judgment that has been put upon them through their lifetimes, and also abuse that is experienced throughout their, you know, anything from sexual abuse. And you know, I won't use any triggering words to avoid triggering anyone, but anything from that whole category, to also just not feeling like you have the right to your own body, not feeling like you have the right to say no, to inconvenience people, or to create a scene or a drama. You know, so there's been situations and times where there might have been uncomfortable incidents and experiences where you didn't feel valid or worthy enough to say no, and to say back off, or please don't touch me there, please don't put your arm around me, I don't want to be cuddled, or, you know, very smaller things, but that can have a detriment on the inner soul for not feeling like they have their own right over their own bodily autonomy. And I do think this is something that really is coming up at this moment in time, is being able to embrace, accept and integrate that wild woman, that sacral self, that sensual, powerful shadow self, in essence, into the inner self and into the inner parts of us, and to not block them off and repress that part of ourselves from ourselves, because it can happen. We can end up being put down by other people, so then we put that part of ourselves down to avoid the judgment, the shame or the criticism. So I think what's important to mention is that we have to allow and accept that part of ourselves at this moment in time to be seen, to be acknowledged, our needs, our desires, our wants, the parts of ourselves that we have locked and shamed and shunned away for so long have to be allowed to be released now, and have to be allowed to be activated within us to create that divine, sacred sense of wholeness within ourselves. How can we expect to be in partnerships and divine unionships of masculine and feminine energy when we are not in our divine feminine or masculine energy in our own right? So by going on this healing journey and tapping into the sacral chakra and going through the Kundalini awakening, it really allows you to release any of that repressed shame and energy. It allows you to unlock your potential and your life force and your creative fire and your power within your sacral energy. And it allows you to access a part of yourself that has been limited and restricted for so many years. So I think it's really important to mention that I will be doing a course in Honey School on waking the wild woman within the sacral chakra that will be upcoming in the next few months. But in the meantime for that, I've been going through this myself in terms of unlocking aspects of self, unlocking new aspects of shame, and specifically in the, you know, industry of being a woman in anything from periods to pregnancy, sexuality, clothing. There is a whole invertation, and you know, even breastfeeding is sexualized and criminalized and punished, and there's just so much judgment and shame that we need to break down in these systems, and we need to be speaking out about things that don't feel comfortable to us and that don't feel aligned to our heart frequency. So that is something I think you guys should kind of just think on and work on, and touch within yourself if that's something you have explored. And if you do feel comfortable kind of standing in your own right, standing in your bare human form and accepting of that, accepting of what that brings and who that brings. I think that's a really important part of accepting ourselves. And a lot of us right now, it needs to be activated in us, and it needs to be released, all this repressed emotion, because we are going through what I'm calling a little bit of the calm, not before the storm, because it's not a bad thing, it's like before the expansion, before the big release. And it feels like a bit of a quieter phase between ourselves and higher self and spirit guides and spirit world and all the other realms. It feels like things are a little bit less active and vocal in terms of my personal perspective and the people I'm working with. And it's almost like some people I'm working with have experienced a sense of a disconnection. And I don't perceive it that way. I perceive it as a breathing period, time to rest and recuperate and regather what your thoughts are, what your channel is, what your messages are, what your mission is, and what's coming forward for you. I think that's what's happening here, is the noise is being turned down for us to really focus on that one voice within our own intuition and our own higher self. So there has been, like I said at the beginning, a lot of different emotions, insecurities, pains, fears, and all different sorts of things that have arisen over the past couple of weeks and still are arising. And it is a difficult thing to experience as a human, as much as we all know the higher meanings and the 5D understandings of things. It doesn't mean that in a human way it's not still difficult to go through. And it doesn't mean that it's not still a challenging and emotional, difficult experience for us to live a day-to-day experience in these human navigations and as we're processing through this. So just be really aware that, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and don't give yourself any burdens of stress or negativity at the moment when you're just processing through this with the best ease and comfortability that you can in this current moment. And I think it's important to mention as well, on a side note, I wrote some little notes down so I don't forget what I'm talking about, because I will get on here and I always forget what I want to talk about. So I wrote some little bullet points, that's what I keep looking at down there. Yeah, there has definitely been a lot more higher active UFO presence. So as much as there hasn't been as much, from my opinion, of the vocal communication from the other realms, there has been a lot more physical presence in the real world, and there has been a lot more pictures being taken and sights being seen and ships being seen and lights being seen and all different types of UFO activity that is kind of exposing itself at the moment in time. And a lot of the questions I'm asked a lot is, when are they going to release themselves fully in disclosure? And I think the way I answer it is, they already are in dribs and drabs. They already are showing themselves and allowing themselves to be seen in different ways. And we just kind of have to allow ourselves to have the accessibility to see them, and to have the consciousness understanding to not doubt what we see when we see it and what we feel when we feel it. But yeah, there's been a lot of UFO presence and a lot of the connections with the ships. So that's been really nice and really useful in allowing us to connect in and allowing us to, you know, receive that support and physical validation that things are changing and things are moving faster. And there has been an influx of chemtrails as well. And I do think that some of them are trying to block out the ships so that they can't be seen as much. So there is so much going on right now. There is so much going on. But the best thing that we need to know is that they are showing themselves and that they are becoming more evidently clear. And we have to just have the trust and the faith and the knowing and the belief in what we see and what we know, to be able to work on a level of understanding and connection. So yeah, so I think in terms of that, what else did I want to mention? There's lots of wildlife sounds out here. And maybe that just start getting out in nature, getting out in the vitamin D, getting the light codes and the activations. You know, there's a reason why they keep the weather controlled in a lot of ways, is to stop us from having the access to that magic and then abilities of healing and upgrades. So it is really important to make sure you are getting out in nature, getting outside, making the necessary changes to be able to let your life flow with more ease and more support. I think that is a really, really, really important part of this journey and in encompassing how we move forward with more love and from heart space. You know, I'm just going to get my cards. I think it is really important for us all to be communicating on what we're going through at this time, and to not be pretending like we're not experiencing the ups and downs and the turmoils and the tribulations, and know that we all do have a specific mission, a specific part in this. We all translate messages differently because we all have a different thing to bring, a different role to bring in this mission. So it is important to make sure you are translating the messages with your own interpretation and your own understanding to be able to do something with that and move forward. So I'll pick us some affirmation cards for today. Beautiful. So we've got my mind, body and soul is pure and detoxified. Today I am conscious of what I am putting in my body. So that's a really important one to know. What are we exposing ourselves to? What foods, what drinks, what energies, what people, what vibrations are we allowing, and media and things like that are we allowing into our auric field, into our consciousness, into our subconsciousness, and how is that affecting us on a mind, body and soul level? I'm really being aware of the triad between the mind, body and soul, and communicating with the emotional body, the physical body and the spiritual body, to know that every part of your aspects are integrated and aligned with self, to know what it is that you need at that moment in time. So we've got, I am a I can't speak. I am a magical being. I radiate magnificent energy. I see wonder everywhere. Today I am creating the impossible with magic. Now it is, as we say, like as childlike as we see things, and the world is wonderful and magical, and everything is our creation. Sometimes we need to bring some more of that energy back into the current now, back into the current moment, to be able to feel more connected and powerful and not feel as limited and restricted in this human three-dimensional life. We can have a human life in so much more of an expansive way if we learn to live outside of the limitations and the boxes that are placed upon us. And finally, I am not affected by my past life trauma or my emotions. This is a new life. Today, I am relinquishing any trauma from the past. So that's really important in terms of letting go of any past life, any guilt, anything you did where you may have used your magic for bad in the past, anything where you may have been persecuted and judged for being a light worker in the past, the witch wound, the light worker persecution wound. There is many different ways that this can represent in our lives, and we have to be allowing ourselves to release any burdens, any guilt, shame, repression, fear from the past that are keeping us restricted in this now moment. So it is important to tap into where there may be any past life restrictions, any trauma restrictions from this life or the last life, which are burdening us and stopping us from reaching our true potential. So I hope that helps you guys connect in a little bit more. You guys can always get in touch with me through the website or through Telegram or any of the other ways. There is also lots of different events coming up. We've got some online events coming in Honey's school in the World Endeavour Project. We have the retreat coming up in July the 14th. The last available tickets will be available until June the 10th. And that is going to be a once in a lifetime mind, body, soul experience. It's going to be absolutely out of this earth. And it's going to be a really transformational, deep awakening time for us to truly connect with the mind, body, soul, to dig deep, to really search on what it is that is blocking our connection to our highest self on a deeper level, and find a sense of love and connection back to our souls. So it's going to be a really transformational week. And there's going to be lots of future things coming up. Obviously, there will be taking some time off around September, October time, up to the back end of the year, because I am growing a little human. I have a little baby in my belly. So I will be needing time off to obviously go through that part of my journey in life. So if you are wanting to book in for any sessions, I would recommend doing so before August, September time. And also, like I said, anything that you're wanting to book in terms of the retreat or any events, please get in touch via any of the links below. But other than that, please take care, please look after yourselves, and please know that there is so much light and activations that's going on right now. And it is a challenging, but yet a most expansive, wonderful time for us all. So really, truly, just look after yourself, stay in tune, stay protected, and stay in your heart. Lots of love, guys. Look after yourself. I'll catch you a different time. Bye bye.